My name is Stephanie Lane, and this is Module 16 for AEP 858 Data Analysis, and I will let my partners introduce themselves.
Okay, so I'm Katie Dinkle, a part of the trio here, and I teach first grade at Tecumseh North in the Shawnee Heights district. So that's pretty much.
I am Maggie Villette. And I am a kindergarten teacher in the Shawnee Mission School District.
Awesome. And I teach fourth grade ELA math and reading in Clay Center, Kansas. So our essential question is, as an advanced educational professional, how would you apply data and data analysis to ensure your continuous improvement plan is focused on closing gaps? So a little bit about myself. I'm from Clay Center, Kansas, and our school recently launched as a part of Gemini 2, Kansas Can's redesign initiative. And as a part of this project, my school then has to continually document all data regarding students, and we do this utilizing scoreboards. So we are constantly pulling stakeholders for their opinions, their feedback, suggestions for our building prototypes that we are working on. We then analyze the data to increase engagement, providing necessary scaffolding and fostering a culture that's really focused on rigor, inquiry, and success skills. This, coupled with our teacher leadership, leads to a climate improvement for all stakeholders and diminished gaps in areas of truancy, late and missing work, and failing grades. Another assessment piece is our school uses AIMSweb's testing to document our student scores in the fall, winter, and spring in the areas of RCBM, Maze, and MComp for math and reading. We also take the Kansas State Assessment. We participate in the fall and winter interim to provide feedback for necessary gapping that we have for the spring tests. We also focus heavily on assessments for learning instead of assessments of learning. So we do that by utilizing PBLs, makerspace, innovator rotations to encourage student engagement and to further promote the closing of data gaps. Regardless of whatever part of the day our kiddos are going through, they are always self-evaluating. This usually happens weekly, either during their open lunch, their building-wide novel study, or even just a core class. We've created a vision as teachers and students together for our school, and we value the success of all students now and in the future. Within our vision, we kind of have three sub-goals. We call them E cubed. We want all students engaged in learning, equipped for achievement, and empowered to be successful. As a staff, we firmly believe that a shared vision with all of our stakeholders begets buy-in, which leads to collaboration and input from everyone. This support leads to a stronger building culture, a smaller achievement gap, and a group of students who have an education tailored to their own needs.
Wow. Okay. So, desired outcome, I guess that was kind of assumed. Is there anything specific you want to hit on that?
I think just our desired outcomes in general is, we want the whole student to succeed. So we utilize all data, not just educational data. We look at our demographic data. We even just look at student interests, and we really open that up to our kiddos, giving them feedback and power to kind of decide their day. With our redesign, it allows for our students to kind of dictate what they want. And so our whole afternoon part of our schedule is open to free choice, student choice. So what's unique about our building is we're just fourth and fifth grade. And so we tell them, when you walk into this building, you're no longer a fourth or fifth grade student. You're just kiddos coming to a building to enjoy learning together.
Awesome.
Kind of off of that, you had mentioned that students do a lot of self-reflection and self-assessment. So what are some of the things that students do to self-assess?
Fantastic. So we have scoreboards in every single room, and some of them are kind of silly and look like traditional scoreboards at a basketball or football game, and kids can walk by and put their magnet or a sticker on whatever specific vote is necessary to that teacher. So be it a yes or no question, or a thumbs up or thumbs down, or I understood or I didn't understand. And then we have something called open lunch. So we have an hour every day where the kids can choose to do student success skills in the library and receive tutoring or do homework or group work. They can go to lunch or they can go to recess. And so all the kids just kind of flow together and they manage their time really well. So even when they're leaving those, they vote on things. So if you're leaving lunch, you're saying, I sat with someone today and I felt that I was cared for. And so that's one way we're getting back data from the kids and kind of putting them in charge of their day.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, the area I'm kind of stuck on and maybe need some help from you guys on is, as a future administrator, and currently I recognize it in my building, is how do I motivate teachers who are unmotivated by student data? And I think that's probably a tough question, but that's just where I keep getting stuck. You know, I have fantastic colleagues, but there are just some people who are, you know, pretty set in their ways and maybe don't want to make the necessary changes because of the student feedback we've gotten.
Can I backtrack just
Absolutely.
a little bit?
Yes.
Kind of go with that. What does it look like? I mean, you guys have some amazing, just the infrastructure behind data in place, but what does it look like for teacher collaboration and kind of the setting for when you take that data to come up with a plan? What does that look like?
So every Friday, for the last 30 minutes of the day, our principal and our counselor take all the students in the building. And obviously that couldn't happen in every building, but since we're just 2 grade levels, it's, you know, pretty manageable. And all the para support staff and 4th and 5th grade teachers meet in the library. And each week we're just kind of going over the data we have. We also have the expectation of uploading it weekly. So on Fridays, all data has to be put into our Google Docs. I was gone on maternity leave this year, and so that fell very heavily on my sub, and she did a terrific job. And so then everyone in the building has access to this data. And then bi-monthly, our principal sends that out to all of our stakeholders, parents, community members who are invested, people on our teams within our building. They all get to see this data as well.
Wow, that's awesome. That's great.
It took a long time to get here. I mean, this was not our building even last year. You know, just going through this redesign process, you're gone once a week, the teachers who are on the team. And so you're out of your building, you have a sub in there once a week, and it feels like a lot of work in advance, but like once we got to the spring kind of semester, everything just started clicking and it just felt so much more successful.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm sitting here jotting down notes because, like, man, they got something going on.
It's been really cool to be a part of. It's been a little stressful, but it's been pretty awesome.
Sure. The payoff is worth it, though. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. My initial go ahead, Maggie. Go ahead.
No, you go for it.
My initial response to kind of your needs that you mentioned with just the teacher buy-in and kind of getting some of them on board, and you'll have to kind of correct me. I don't know your school. You know it better than anybody else, but just that personalized side of things, like it sounds like you guys have everybody coming together to collaborate, which is super beneficial, but it also might be beneficial to break it down. Like, I don't know if you can go by content or grade level, where teachers have more investment.
Sure.
And I mean, we are an RTI school, and so we have the attitude that they're all our kids, and that's so true. Like, don't get me wrong, but I'm way more invested in my own kids' data.
Sure.
And if you tell me my kids are significantly below, I'm going to have way more buy-in to that.
Yes.
And so that's just kind of where my mind went immediately, is maybe somehow breaking that collaboration down into content or grade levels or something, just so it's a little bit more direct impact.
Yeah, almost more of an intimate setting too, where, you know, teachers can be, you know, kind of more vulnerable in sharing their data. Maybe there are teachers who don't change because they're not comfortable sharing and reflecting on their data in the big group. That's a great idea.
For sure.
And kind of on that too, because that is really hard to have to be able to share your data with others, and that can be really scary to do that. So, you know, you could do something around just building positive school culture, and then just taking data with how the staff is feeling about certain things. Like there might be times where staff is more overwhelmed, and so then that would be really good for you to know, like, okay, this is really overwhelming. This time is really overwhelming. So what can we do to help with that and negate that feeling of being overwhelmed?
That's a really great suggestion. I feel like, we've done so much with surveying all of our stakeholders and our parents, but, maybe we're not surveying our teachers who honestly are getting a little burnt out through the process. While it's incredible, it's just very time consuming and you're rewriting everything you've ever done. So I think that's a really good idea. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, that was a great idea.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, ladies. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.